Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Droid Life Show today, episode 180. Nice little even number there. It's Friday, August 10th. I'm your host, Kellen. With me, Tim. Tim, say hi.
Hi, guys. How's it going? Tim here.
Hopefully, Tim's audio works. First try this time. Thanks for joining us. Tons and tons and tons of stuff to talk. Actually, Tim, say something real quick.
Hi, my name is Tim.
You do actually work. Yay! No technical difficulties so far. Anyways, huge week in terms of topics. A little bit of sad news though. No trivia. So
it's a long show. We're sorry.
Yeah, no trivia this week. It's just we got a lot to get through. We got Android Pie to talk about. We've got Pixel 3 XL leaks to talk about. We've got the Galaxy Note 9 to talk about. The Galaxy Watch, a Bixby speaker, Fortnite for Android, a Moto Z3, 5G, Qualcomm's wearable. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on and on. So apologies for no trivia. The next show, assuming there isn't 8,000 topics, we'll try to bring trivia back. So anyways, I think we should start with Pi. So Android P, for those not familiar, dropped this week as Android Pie. It's not Popsicle, which I wish it was. It's not Peppermint. It's not Pumpkin Pie. It's just Android Pie, and that's P-I-E. As in the dessert, not P-I as in the number that people love. So that showed up, what was that, Monday morning? Yeah, so we thought it was maybe coming. There was a report that suggested it was coming later in the month, like the 20th or something. It dropped on Monday. So when it became available, it was immediately, like quicker than ever, I feel like this time, available to Pixel, Pixel XL, Pixel 2, Pixel 2 XL, and Essential phone. They dropped it about the same time. But it seemed like the OTA hit everyone's phone almost immediately. Like I feel like in the past we had to like wait a few days, a week, like the images would be available and then the OTA would like take a little bit of time, but it didn't. It was available. I think you told me within like 20 minutes you're like, it's available right now. So
yeah, I was stoked.
So what's new with the Android Pie? Well, we got a statue that's basically just the bug droid guy standing and a couple pieces, a piece of pie and the whole pie. It's pretty
seriously weak.
It's a pretty weak statue. I was looking back at the old statues and like the gingerbread man statue. He wasn't a bug droid guy, but at least it was a gingerbread man. And then like we've had ice cream sandwich was a good one. It actually was an ice cream sandwich bug droid. There's been some good ones. This one, not so much. But we had a few years where it was also bad. Like Lollipop remember, it was just like the bug droid guy holding a giant lollipop. And Marshmallow, he's just holding a marshmallow. So we've had some bad ones. Last year, though, with Oreo, remember it was like Superhero Oreo, which I never really did understand. But anyway, enough statue talk. So Android Pie, big things to know. Gesture navigation, if you want it. It's not on by default. You have to turn on gesture navigation. Apparently in the Pixel 3, it will be on by default. So if you're Pixel or Pixel 2 owner and you're thinking of getting the Pixel 3, you may want to flip on that gesture navigation because it may just be on in the Pixel 3. So that's obviously a big deal. We've talked at length about that. The notification panel looks different. It's all reskinned. So the whole theme of Android Pie looks a little bit different than it did on Oreo. There's adaptive battery and brightness, which we've kind of had them in the past. They're just a little bit more supercharged now. That's kind of it for new, like big stuff. The rest of it's like little, like there's an auto rotate toggle when you move your phone. There's actions in your app drawer, which they're in my app drawer all the time. I don't know that I've ever used them. There's a text magnifier when you scroll, which is actually kind of handy for the first time. I don't know what it like. Am I missing anything from Android Pie?
You're not missing too much.
Those are kind of the big things, right?
I mean, there's the digital wellness, which I think you'll talk about.
That's right. So digital well-being is, yeah, I called it wellness for like, actually, I was about to film a whole video of it. And I went through an entire intro calling it digital wellness. And then I looked at it and went, yeah, that's not what it's called. And I had to like reshoot that video that we did for it.
What sucks is like, I think that's a way better name now. Oh, if you're hearing that, that's Fortnite booting up on my Sam. Sorry. We have life.
So digital well-being is a suite of features that Google first announced at Google I/O. And essentially the idea is we're on our phones too much. We need help disconnecting. So you can set up app timers that'll warn you or tell you when you've been using them too much, and then they'll like cut you off from being able to use them. There's more controls over do not disturb, just app notifications in general. And then there's this usage panel that shows you how much you actually use your phone, how many notifications you have in a day, how many times you unlock your phone. And then you can set up a mode called wind down that turns your phone from color to black and white, or gray, I should say, to sort of push you towards putting your phone down and taking a break. So that did launch alongside Android Pie. There was a beta release that you could sign up for. I think it might just be a public beta now. I think you can just go try it out. I'll have to confirm that. But so that's new. Played with that for a little bit. It works as advertised. All the features are there. I haven't really set anything. It's one of those things I feel like you kind of have to want the help. Like you have to want to disconnect from your phone.
You have to
I
admit
do sometimes.
you have a problem.
Yeah,
And
you have to.
like a lot of people, you don't want to admit that you have a problem until you start hurting others in your life, or they say, you know what, the way you do things affects me. Like say, like my girlfriend would definitely tell me, like, you should probably download the Wellbeing app or whatever. You know, that way maybe you'll spend more time with me and not on your phone. But I just flip it because she's on her phone way more than I'm on mine. So
I told my wife about it and she was like, I don't want that. And I was like,
No.
Are you sure? You don't need this for like Instagram? And she's like, no, I like Instagram. And I was like, oh God, this is, again, yeah, you have to kind of admit that you might have a problem there. I turned on the wind down mode and it worked a couple of nights. I feel like it hasn't worked the last 2 nights. Or no, actually I factory reset my phone. That's probably why. I should probably turn that back on. Overall, again, it works. And the information it provides to you is kind of fascinating when you do look at how many notifications you get. Like the other day, I think it was like 10 in the morning when I filmed the digital well-being video, and I had already had like 150 notifications or something like that. So that's kind of scary. So that was a big feature that, not necessarily a Pi feature, although it is only available to Pixel and Pixel 2 people on Pi, but it's kind of a separate app that you install. That's kind of it for Pi. It's stable, so that means it's available. I'm sure your phone manufacturer, if you don't own one of those, is going to update you really soon. No. If you own an Essential phone, though, let's see if I have this thing booted up. I do. So the Essential phone is running stable Android Pie right now, which is it's kind of crazy. Google announced it within minutes. Essential was like, all right, here, we were giving it to you too. And I installed it. It was available. I have Android Pie on my Essential phone. They're the only other phone maker. When you think about that, it's really, really sad to think that Google released this new version of Android and only one other phone. I mean, it used to be 0 other phone companies released it on the same day, but we now have one phone company who also released Pi on the same day as Google, except they don't want to make any more phones because they apparently didn't sell enough or something. It's so sad. It is very depressing. So Essential phone, if you have one, and what's crazy is now the Essential phone has gone through multiple price reductions and crazy Amazon Prime Day sales and things like that. There's a whole bunch of people that really like the Essential phone. Like, I don't know if you ever go into the comments when we write up about the Essential phone, and it's almost everyone going, I love my Essential phone. Like, even with the garbage camera and the touch issues, everyone that owns it seems to really, really like it. I think Essential is screwing up by not releasing, at least not trying again, like one more time. But so far, we don't really think they are. But get Pi. Need Pi already.
They could give me the same exact phone, just update the processor, maybe fix some of the display issues, and put a new camera in there. It could literally look the same. I don't care because I still think it's like the hottest hardware. Yeah. So just give me the same phone with updated internals, and I will buy it.
And think about how cheap that is, right? For them. Yeah. If you take this exact phone right here, because I'm exactly with you, take this the exact design. Don't change move any pieces or anything. Just replace that camera sensor. So they might have to tweak the design some depending on how big the camera is. So change that. Just take the 835 out or whatever processor and just put an 845 just in the same spot. I'm sure they're the same damn size. Just about. I don't care about the RAM. It has 128. It has 128 gig storage in here. Like, everyone's praising Samsung and the Note 9 for starting with 128. This has 128 gig storage. It has for a year. Yeah, change those things. And then, yeah, whatever is with the display panel. You don't have to do anything. Just change those like 3 pieces. Call it a day. I'd buy one today and not even look back. Anyways.
Quick note in the chat, please stop spreading potential malware Fortnite APKs in the chat.
Oh, you will get banned instantly.
Yeah. Just get it directly from Epic. Don't download APKs from the web and say that they don't check GPU and RAM and all this. Like, no. We're not doing that here.
Oh yeah, because I did see there was like a safety net check one like floating around. Yeah, just don't do that. Just don't do that. Well, because it's limited to certain phones, I think, and just stop, people.
There's a method to the madness, people. Come on, be safe.
You'll get it pretty soon. Yeah. I know we all want everything now,
but I mean, downloading Fortnite APKs goes well against the digital well-being, philosophy. It's just not. It's not good.
All right, so Android Pie. Again, it's available. Pixel XL, 2 XL, Essential Phone. You can get it now. Like my wife uses a regular Pixel 2. She had it immediately and installed it, and she wasn't so sure about it at first. I don't know. She couldn't show me or tell me what she didn't like. I mean, I don't know if it's just maybe the notification area. I'm not totally sure what she didn't like, but it's a change, so she was thrown off a little bit. Either way, go grab it. Update to it. We don't know when anyone else is going to push updates to it. I would imagine push updates of it. I would imagine Sony might be fairly quick. I used to think HTC was, but I don't know what HTC is doing anymore. Motorola, there was a time they were quick, but I wouldn't expect that. OnePlus will probably be the quickest because they were in on the beta, or at least previews. They had a couple of previews. So they might be fairly quick, but they also, I mean, they're not Essential quick. So OnePlus, they have to deal with Oxygen OS, whereas Essential just basically ships you stock pure Android. So Essential or OnePlus will work up to, it could be a couple months. I don't know. They've really said. Samsung, I don't know. Like we talked about the Galaxy S9, how it has an 845, it has treble. Like this could be, like Qualcomm got everyone ready with the 845. But I mean, Samsung hasn't said it. They announced the Note 9 yesterday with an 845, and it's running Android 8.1. So I have no idea when Samsung is going to update. Nothing changes in Android.
No, it does not.
On a related note, Pixel 3 XL showed up all over the place this week. A Ukrainian tech blogger got his hands on one, or knows someone who has their hands on one, and posted some videos to his Telegram channel. I didn't even know Telegram channels were a thing, by the way, but they are. And posted an unboxing of the phone. You can tell the packaging is not totally final, but posted an unboxing. Then went hands-on with it, showed all the angles, and it's white, and then showed some specs off. We kind of know a lot about the Pixel 3 XL. Before we get there, though, Google outed the launch date. They went on this site that YouTube owns called, what's it called? FameBit. I didn't know this existed either. I should probably know these things. There's a site called FameBit, and it's for influencers, which is, such a big deal. And influencers go on FameBit and they look up companies who want to pay people to be an influencer. And then they pitch to them and say, I could promote your product really well on Instagram and YouTube and whatever. And then they look at your proposal, and then they potentially say yes and then pay you money to do these things. But Google posted on FameBit that they'll pay $10,000 to Canadian creators who want to talk about the Pixel 3. And the goal is to have Canadian creators who are not currently on a Google Pixel switch to a Pixel 3 and then talk about that and make a video about it.
I'll do it for half.
I was going to say they want to pay people $10,000 to do that. But what they said is the go live date for that is October 4th, 2018.
Shocker.
If that date sounds familiar, that's because the Pixel and Pixel 2 were both announced on October 4th, 2016 and 17. So October 4th is the day the Pixel 3 will be announced. and expect a whole bunch of Canadians to just love the Pixel 3. They just switched really easily from whatever phone they're on. This is kind of off topic, but like these types of posts, like once I dove into the world of Famebit, because I signed up to like get access to make sure this thing existed, right? And you just look around and it's like, now I know. I mean, I knew it was bad on YouTube that half the content is all paid for. But when you go on a site like this and see all the stuff on there, you just kind of go, ew. Like we knew everyone was getting paid for YouTube videos, but this is gross. And like Google's like paying $10,000. Like, you know, every Canadian YouTuber is like, oh, hell yes. And they'll make a $10,000 video to say they switch from their iPhone and then the next day they'll be back on their iPhone. Like we know how that works, but gross. So October 4th, by the way, is when it's coming. All right, back onto the leak. So this Ukrainian blogger posts an unboxing video and some hands-on photos, and we learned some things. Number one, it's really ugly. Well, I don't know. Do you hate the Pixel 3 XL's design?
No.
Okay.
I mean, so the notch is a little.
Yeah, the notch is a bit much. So I'm in the camp that I think it looks kind of bad on the front anyway. So we get a look at the front with the chin and the big notch and whatever. It's the design we've seen that everyone's been trashing for, well, since we first saw it. But it's the white version. You can see the shiny glass finish on the back, but it's still two-tone. The back looks totally slick. It looks like a Pixel phone. So we know the display is a 6.7-inch display now, which seems really large, but remember the dimensions of it are not large. They're the same size as the Pixel 2 XL. We know it's a Snapdragon 845, 64 gig storage, which I don't want to say it seems low. Like I feel like we're getting spoiled by Essential Samsung with the 128, but 64 gig storage, because we know there's no SD slot. 4 gig RAM though does seem a bit low. Like we complained last year when the Pixel 2 XL had 4 gig RAM. It's 2018 and we're back with 4 gig RAM, where Samsung is now doing 6 and 8 on the Note. OnePlus is doing 6 and 8. I feel like everyone's doing 6 at least for the most part. Well, LG didn't, but it's LG.
It is a little shocking to see yet another flagship phone from Google with 4 gigs of RAM. I feel like that's been the case for the past 4 years now for them. So
it really seems like it. So yeah, a little low on the RAM there. The latest leak though today showed also a 3430 milliamp hour battery. I believe that's smaller than the Pixel 2 XL's battery, right?
I'm sorry, I totally misheard your question.
Oh, the battery is 3430 milliamp hour. Is that smaller than the Pixel 2 XL? I want to say that it is.
Oh, I can't remember the Pixel 2 XL's battery.
I can't either. I'm looking up. Yeah, 3520 was the 2 XL. So slightly smaller battery. What else did it show off?
Should have a better performing processor for battery drain. So
Hopefully.
really, you might just be getting the same specs essentially, like in terms of like battery life.
I mean, I hope so. 12.2 megapixel camera, which is what the last like 3 Pixel phones now will have had. 8.1 megapixel dual pixel setup or dual camera setup up front. So that's what we learned about the phone. In the box though, USB-C earbuds in the box. That's huge news. That's there's no headphone jack, obviously. So yeah, in the box, USB-C headphones, which I feel like they should have given us last year.
It's gonna be $900.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, because they threw in these earbuds. I don't know. They have a notch, so they'll jack the price up. Yeah, the phone won't be cheap, unfortunately.
Did you say that they were Pixel Buds? Did you misspeak? Because they are not.
No. I was going to say there's supposed to be a new pair of Pixel Buds coming. But what I was saying is they're throwing these in the box and then we still should get a new. I just didn't finish the thought, but there still should be a new version of Pixel Buds coming. But the last Pixel Buds were not good, so I'll probably just use the inbox buds. I'm fine with a little wire. Buds. Yeah. I'm not really sure what else is from this leak here. It's kind of crazy though. I mean, this dude posted up a variety of pictures and 2 videos now. We got a new one this morning that showed benchmarks, which revealed a whole bunch of the specs.
Yeah,
it's just fascinating that some guy has a Pixel 3. Yeah, has a Pixel 3 XL in a box. And like the box, I think on the bottom in the video he showed today, like he had to blur out like the IMEI and like a bunch of that like serial number stuff on the bottom. So I don't know who Google's sending these to. Like maybe there's like a preview program and this guy happened to get one and now he's sending it to this Ukrainian guy. But it's kind of crazy. It looks like a pretty finished product.
That looks, I mean, that's the phone. Like that
yeah, they're not
did not look prototype or anything. That was done.
No, it definitely looks done. So we know exactly. Now we're just kind of waiting for the regular Pixel 3 to leak some more, but I mean, we kind of know what we're getting there too. So not a lot of surprises now for the Pixel 3 and 3 XL, which is weird because the phone's not going to be announced for 2 months. We have 2 months to go. I know like there's a lot of Samsung leaks for Samsung stuff, but Google 2 months ahead of time, like because they've kept this phone, I should say both of these phones buttoned up pretty good. I would say leading up until this week. And then these, I mean, we saw those prototype phones, but this is like a retail looking unit. So it's just kind of crazy. It's early. That's all. All right. Should we talk Galaxy Note 9?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's sort of a big deal. It happened this week.
It's happened.
I traveled thousands of miles to cover it.
Yes, you did. So the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 was announced yesterday. Finally, this is speaking of leaks again. I feel like we've known everything there is to know about the Galaxy Note 9 for like 2 months also. And it seems like it should. I mean, we've seen official press renders and marketing materials and specs and everything. They finally announced it. The Galaxy Note 9 was announced yesterday. Tim was on hand for the festivities at Barclays Center, huh? Barclays Center? They went
Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York.
I'm surprised it went such a big ass arena, but this is Samsung. Although I saw the display setup thing they had for like showing like the actual, yeah. Well, they did this cool thing that I don't know if you could see this that well in person, but on video when they showed the Bixby speaker, which we'll talk about, where it started on the ground display like and went up. Yeah, like on video. I don't know if did it look cool in person because it looked cool in like the video.
Honestly, I'm so pessimistic that nothing looks cool in person to me.
So I think it was more of a made for TV moment because it did actually. I was like, wow, it looks like it's rising up, and I was like, oh, they have that.
It looked cool.
It's like, oh, they have that floor screen. Yeah. Anyway, it looked kind of cool. So Samsung Galaxy Note 9. What is there to say? Well, I feel like I should just, because it's so expensive, I feel like you have to start with the price. So the phone starts at $1,000, and then there's a second model that jumps up to $1,250. So $1,250. The difference there is the $1,000 model has 128 gig storage with SD card slot and 6 gig RAM. And then there's the $1,250 version has 512 gigabytes of internal storage and 8 gig RAM. So yeah, you're paying a $250 premium, but you're getting like 3.5 times the storage or something like that, and more RAM. And you also have an SD slot there, and they're going to have a 512 gigabyte SD card soon. So you could have a terabyte of storage in your Note 9 if you really want to, which is kind of cool. I don't know how you would ever come close to filling up a terabyte on a phone. A lot of computers don't have that. Like my laptop does not. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. Let's see. It's got a 6.4 inch Quad HD Super AMOLED display, Snapdragon 845. So there was a report a few weeks ago that said like there might be a new Snapdragon processor in this phone. That didn't happen. In case anyone wanted to know, it's just an 845. Storage RAM, 4,000 milliamp hour battery. So while Google seems to be dropping down in size, Samsung is like back up. They're like, our stuff doesn't blow up anymore. Let's go back up. 4,000 is a good size, right? Dual rear cameras, both have OIS. Also has the dual aperture, just like the S9 does. So it has that. It is running Android 8.1 with Samsung Skin on top. Of course, one of the biggest features, probably the coolest feature, is the new S Pen. It does have Bluetooth, which you guys knew. And you can control stuff like taking selfies and controlling PowerPoint presentations, because holy shit, that sounds fun. Yeah. You can pause and play music too. You can open other apps, I think. There's a handful of things you can do with the pen, but what they keep showing is everyone taking selfies and then controlling PowerPoint presentations, which is my favorite thing ever, of course, PowerPoint.
Well, it's the perfect phone made for presenters at shows where they present phones, just like that phone. I mean, really, I mean, of course, in my job or in my life, I don't know anyone who walks around, taking selfies like the way they were doing and providing PowerPoint presentations, but I know there are people out there who have that life, and so I'm trying. I think Samsung's just being inclusive, and so I can appreciate that.
Yeah, it was like I watched these highlight videos that Samsung produced that were showing it off, and like some of them they're like holding the pen up here to make sure they get it in the selfie. It was awkward, but I think that's cool. Like, if there's one feature of the Note 9 that really stands out to me, it's the new uses of that pen. And like, you put it in and it like wirelessly fast charges. What is it like in just
under a minute?
Yeah, under a minute it basically charges, which is kind of crazy. I don't know what the range on it is like. Did anyone say anything about like range, like how far away you can walk from your phone?
Well, they didn't talk about range, but Bluetooth Low Energy. What
should go like fairly
20
far.
meters or something. I mean, it's solid enough.
Yeah, but that stuff's kind of cool. There's some little details they focused on, like the color of the pen when you write on the screen with the screen off note taking thing. Like it does the color of the pen, like it does the urine yellow or the purple or whatever. So there's like some little details in there. Like there's a new feature where you can take a picture and trace like the outside of it, and then it'll wipe out the picture and then just leave you with like your own sketch and stuff. I mean, there's some little things with the pen they do that's cool. I still don't know if I would use the pen, but I do like what they've done with this pen. Am I missing anything that you can do with the pen?
With the pen? No, I mean, they only gave us some weak examples, so...
Yeah, the examples were pretty lame.
Yeah, like everyone else, we don't have the device in hand yet, so we're still learning. As you could maybe tell from our first look video yesterday, I was given some faulty information, and so yeah, we're learning about the device the same as everyone else, which is fun because it's sort of a rush and a kick in the butt to be like, all right, like figure out everything about this phone in 10 seconds, but yeah, I think you got it all for the most part, all the important stuff for the S Pen. Okay.
I love getting the important stuff. In unimportant stuff, this phone also runs DeX. You can just plug in like an HDMI dongle. You don't need a DeX dock or anything. You can plug it into a monitor and then you have DeX up and running. I do not know why any person on this planet would ever use DeX, which I've made clear over the last couple of years, but it is built in there. So DeX is there as well. It's certainly a powerhouse device. In the US, there's only the purple or the blue colors, the black version and the copper metallic version, not going to be sold here, at least yet, right? Like there's always a chance they can add black or whatever on. All the carriers have it. It's also sold unlocked. For the first time that I can ever remember a Samsung phone, the pricing is the same everywhere. Like even with the S9, like remember like AT&T and Verizon, they had an extra high price for the full retail and stuff like that. For the Note 9, it's the same price ever. It's $1,000 or $1,250. It doesn't matter where you get it from. So pricing is at least, I should say, normalized everywhere. What else? What's that?
Pre-order one, get one.
That's true. So pre-orders are open now. Well, they opened last night, but you can pre-order the phone now. And almost everyone is doing some sort of special deal to help you get it. Like Samsung, if you buy it from them, they're doing that instant trade-in offer where you can get like up to $450 off instantly. That's only if you trade in, I think, an S9 or S9 Plus, can you get the $450, or I think maybe an iPhone 10 or a Pixel 2 XL. If you trade in those 4 phones, they'll give you $450 off. But there's a whole bunch of phones that are $400. Like if you trade in an S8, they'll give you like $400 off. So so that's at Samsung. Like AT&T's doing buy one, get one free. So is Verizon. Sprint, they do some weird lease stuff. I can never figure it out. T-Mobile will give you $500 off if you trade in anything from a Note 8 down to like a Note 5, and including S7s, S8s, all of that stuff. So they'll give you $500 off. Of course, that's bill credits and crap like that. Like Samsung just gives you the money off like right now. Best Buy is obviously doing some deals. There's freebies. If you pre-order, you can either choose 15,000 V-Bucks if you're playing that Fortnite, which we'll talk about in a second. That's apparently $150 value. And if you decide not to, there's also AKG noise canceling headphones that are $300 value. Those you can get either of those for free. There's also a bundle where you combine them, and I think just pay like $100 and they give you both. I think that's pretty much. Oh, the phone launches August 24th. So pre-orders open now, August 10th. the in-store launch date is August 24th. There's usually a good chance if you pre-order, they'll send you the phone early. I mean, for years now, Samsung it used to depend kind of on which carrier you bought it from, but I think at this point, if you pre-order a Galaxy Note 9, it's probably going to show up early, at least a few days early. In the past, we've seen them like a week early, but I don't know if that'll happen this time.
Yeah, people are asking if V-Bucks can be sort of like traded to other players or sold. We don't know how Samsung is providing the V-Bucks or Epic Games. My assumption is that Epic Games or Samsung are going to provide codes that you just use to redeem them. So, I mean, if they're codes and they're not tied specifically to your account, I suppose you could give them away or sell them or whatever. But we'll have to look into how Samsung's divvying that out.
Yeah. So. Decent deals to be had, decent freebies, pre-orders now. I don't know, you spent some time with the phone. What do you think about the phone?
The phone's cool. I mean, it's a Note phone, you know, so it's large and in charge. It's definitely a feature-packed Samsung experience device, you know, like you're in it, and I just, you know, I didn't see a new phone UI or anything. I just saw another Samsung phone, which all blend together these days for me with that Samsung experience skin. I mean, they got their own icon still, the pull down. I mean, coming from Android P and like a stock Android P, I've been running Android P on the Essential phone, OnePlus 6, and the Pixel 2 XL now, and I brought all three phones with me. Of course, I didn't take a Galaxy phone. It's kind of funny, but playing with Android P and then going back to Oreo on the Samsung experience skin, it was definitely sort of a weird sort of just transition, I guess. But I wasn't playing with the phone for long. However, the phone is heavy. The phone is large, 6.4-inch display. Of course, you know, it has minimal bezels, but still, I mean, that is a large display.
That's big,
yeah. I did like the fingerprint reader placement. It's a little high up on the back side, but totally usable compared to other implementations of the fingerprint reader that they've done, where it's like either next or kind of connected to the camera on the back. Not a huge fan of that. So other than that, like I said, the first thing in my video, I mean, if you had a Note 8 or you knew what the Note 8 looks like, I mean, that's basically what the Galaxy Note 9 is, with a few hardware tweaks. I didn't get to play with Bixby at all because Bixby was disabled on all the demo units, so I couldn't play with any of the contextual things.
Is this Bixby 2.0 yet or not yet?
I don't know. I know it has a new UI, right? Yeah. I mean, I could tell that it had a new UI on the phone, but I couldn't go into like version numbers or anything like that for Bixby. Other than that, I mean, it's a Samsung phone. I opened up the camera a little bit, shot some pics. I mean, it looks okay. I wasn't like blown away. Like,
they added the that gimmicky LG thing where it like recognizes your scene and tries to like auto do some stuff. It looks like it's faster than LG's terrible implementation of that, but like they didn't really talk that much about the camera. They said like, yeah, it's got dual aperture but that was like the highlight was like, it'll analyze your scene for you. And it's like, I will probably turn that off. Like, I don't want you analyzing scenes for me.
Yeah, definitely. I see a couple of people in the chat saying the stock Android is a boring UI, and that's totally fine. That's a very that's a personal thing. Like if you think stock Android is a boring UI or Samsung experience is sort of a ugly skin, I mean that's all personal preference. So I'm not here to judge or anything, but
I'll judge.
It looks like Samsung experience. You know, it looks like their skin for the past while.
Yeah, is this a new version or is it still like 8.1 or are we at 9? I don't even know what
we're
version.
9 dot something. So
okay.
I didn't look at the software again.
It looked exactly the same as what you're saying.
It just looks the same. Yeah. It was not very fancy. The phone, you know, it seemed fast, I guess. I mean, it just felt like a Samsung phone. You know, yeah, you press a button, it does its thing, but you know, I did the double click for the camera and it opened up right away. I mean, it's a fast phone. It's large, it's fast. I think Samsung, for Note fans, they paid attention to the things that matter, right? You know, they gave them a big battery, gave them good cameras,
give them all display, the RAM, big battery.
Give them all yeah, exactly. That's exactly what the Note people want. Yeah, it's a power user phone. So I don't know what it'll really come down to. It'll probably come down to price. I mean, $1,000, it's a lot of money, you know. So if people want to pay that, so be it.
It's a lot of money. I mean, I was joking yesterday that T-Mobile if you want the 512 gigabyte version, you have to pay $530 down to T-Mobile just to get it, and then you still have $30 per month payments. And if you want the 128 gig model, you have to pay like $270 or $280 down. Because I don't know why T-Mobile, but for whatever reason, T-Mobile, when they finance phones for people and do monthly payment plans, they can't ever finance more than like, it's like $750 or something like that. Right. And so they make you do this down payment thing. It's just super weird because none of the other carriers make you do the down payment thing except T-Mobile, but you have to pay $5. And I joke that like the OnePlus 6 costs $530, but if you want to buy the top end Note 9 at T-Mobile, you have to basically buy a OnePlus 6 and then still pay them $30 a month for 2 years, which is just wild. That's so much money.
A lot of things. So, okay, I guess the way I'll look at it real quick is, right, say you want a Range Rover, right? I see a $90,000 just SUV where I could just go get, you know, a Hyundai SUV or something, a Mazda SUV for a third of the price. It's really the same thing, right? You know, if someone thinks that that's what is going to do them the best, then I think that that's what they should do. So we're not here to judge how much is willing to spend on a phone or anything like that, just to clear up anything. Like if you want to spend $1,000, by all means. Yeah,
spend however much money you want on a phone. Yes. Part of what we do is talk about like if that's appealing to most people. And I mean, we ran a poll that said like, are you buying? Yeah, and like 70% of our readers were like, no, I'm not buying this phone. Most of the comments I saw yesterday were that price is crazy. We've seen some people in the chat and also in our comments that said like the color options are annoying to them, like the blue or the purple. I think a lot of people do like black phones, which I get. Black phones are fine. I personally can't stand Samsung's black phones. I feel like they're the goopiest fingerprinty things ever because they're not a matte finish. I don't like shiny black. It just looks gross. So people are mad that it's only blue or purple. I don't know. This is the year for Samsung where it's kind of a rehash of like we're at the final period of this design language. I think like we got it. Like the S6 kind of started us here. Then the S7 year improved upon the all glass this design, and then last year we got like the all display version with the S8, and then they've continued that on. And so I think like what you said is all these Samsungs kind of blend together now. I kind of feel the same way, and it's because we're like 3.5, well, we're really like 2 years of the all display version, but this design with the glass and the curves and stuff, we're like 4 years into this. So it's just feeling a little tired, which may not be fair because when you look at this phone and you look at all the stuff they put in there, I mean, it has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. It also has room for a pen and a headphone jack and dual speakers. And, you know, like this phone has everything in it. So the price probably makes sense for what you're getting here. I still think it's shocking to us. But what's crazy is with all that stuff, like you just played with the phone and you were like, it's a Samsung phone. Like, and like I feel like there was a time where you loved Samsung phones. You were like the resident Note fanboy for a while, and then I think when the Note 7 did its thing, that kind of pushed some people away. Yeah, it didn't help. But like I feel like I can kind of gauge like interest sometimes off of your reaction to it, because like in the last year I've seen like you even went with an S9 Plus for a while. Like remember we reviewed the S9 and I was like, I'm done with that the minute we were done reviewing, and you were like, no, I'm sticking with this bad. But you put a case on it. Like I was like, who are you? You're a Samsung S9 Plus with a case. Like you rocked that thing for a long time. And so now that the Note's here and you're like, I'm kind of enjoying this One Plus, and like now the Pixel 2 has like Pi, like it's like you've shifted. And just a couple months ago, you were on an S9 Plus, like you were loving that Samsung life. So it's interesting to see you just kind of go, it's just another one.
Yeah, what people, or I guess even what I value in a smartphone has changed over the years. But right now, I mean, updates are so important, especially around at least this time of year when we're talking a new version of Android, right? Yeah. So in that later part of the year when the the non-Note series comes out, the Galaxy S line comes out, where the update isn't a huge deal so long as it comes with the new version or will be updated quickly to it. But what we saw is that did not happen with Oreo and the Galaxy S9. So that really turned me off from Samsung in general, where I could have a Pixel device or even like a OnePlus phone now and be running the latest version of Android, albeit a beta, but still, you know, Android P. So just playing with that new Android is just better than, I guess, having a consistent experience with a Samsung device. You know, it's just funner to kind of be living on the edge with that experimental flavor of stuff. So, yeah, my usage changes and stuff, but I'm still the same guy. I still like Note phones, I think, because for what I do, like I'll play my games on them, and it's going to be probably one of the better experiences.
Right.
The displays are insanely good. Performance is always pretty darn good, at least for gaming. So I'm excited to get hands-on. Only thing I really care about is that Fortnite Galaxy skin. So I just bring it on, dude. That's what I want.
Yeah, so we can talk about Fortnite. So Fortnite did go official on Android yesterday during the announcement. Epic Games CEO, is it Tim Sweeney? Is that his name?
Sweeney.
Yeah. So on stage announced it. We knew this was coming, right? We've been talking about this also for the last like week or so. So he said, yeah, it's launching now. They didn't really mention anything about the exclusive stuff that we've heard about, but if you go on Epic Games Fortnite site and go to download for Android, it kind of just lets you sign up, right? But if you have a Samsung phone, you can go into the Galaxy App Store and get it now. So
download that and start playing. I logged in. My Skull Trooper is ready to go.
Yeah, so if you own, it's all the way down to like the S7, I think it goes all the way down to.
I thought it was S8, but I mean,
it might be S8.
I'm half asleep still.
It actually might be. I had the damn story written up with all the phones. So it did launch, and again, if you own a Samsung phone, you can go into the Galaxy App Store and get it. So S7, S8, S9, Note 8, Note 9, Tab 3, and Tab S4. So those are the devices. And then if you don't own a Samsung phone, the list is actually pretty long once it starts rolling out. Like Epic's not, again, no one's really said like, yes, we have an exclusive, even though we all are pretty sure. Epic's just kind of saying, no, we're rolling this out in like waves to everyone. You just sign up. But I don't know anyone with a Pixel 2 that's like gotten an invite or an invite.
Yeah, so I think it's really smart kind of the way they're doing it. It's sneaky as all hell, but they can do it in this way without saying it's an exclusive and kind of turning their back on every other, you know, millions of Android users who don't own a Samsung, right? So they're doing this beta, of course. Fortnite's always been a beta. It's always going to be a beta, but, you know, they're rolling it out just to the Samsung phones in this, you know, beta, but then they'll open it up later down the road without having to say it was ever an exclusive. It's really smart.
So Pixel and Pixel 2 will both be supported. Essential phone, Asus's ROG phone, Huawei's like Honor 10, Mate 10 Pro, Mate 10, P20, P20 Pro, V10, LG G5, which is kind of crazy, G6, G7, V20 and 30, OnePlus 5, 5T and 6, Razer phone, obviously. There's some Xiaomi phones, there's some ZTE phones. So the list is most of the popular phones from the last like 3 years. Well, if you're Samsung or LG. So yeah, you'll get it eventually. If you own a Samsung phone, you can get it right now.
How exciting.
Yeah.
I'm never going to play it on mobile just because that's for scrubs and people who get destroyed, like people like me on console and PC. So
at least it's only Android versus iOS, right? Like the mobile stuff.
Well, so no, because there is crossplay. So mobile players can go play with people who are on console.
And I don't think they're doing that with this, though.
Oh, really? What I have a buddy do is he had an iPhone and like a secondary account. He would sign on. He would get his iPhone. He would go log in on his like console or whatever, go join the mobile player. So he's playing nothing but mobile players in their lobby and just, you know, destroying. It's basic. It's cheating. Like it's flat out cheating, but it's fun to just go in there and just destroy mobile players. But
yeah, I think they're gonna limit it that. Like I looked in their FAQ and I think it pretty much said you only play against iOS people.
Those iOS people, I mean, they've got months of practice, so watch out.
This is true. Yeah, it says, will Android players be forced to cross-play? It says no, by default, Android and iOS players are matched against other mobile players.
By default.
By default. So you must be able to, like, if you actually want to go get destroyed by console and PC players. Bluetooth controller support is apparently coming later, so then it's going to be really sweaty.
I'll be sweating. Yeah, I'll bring it on once the controller support comes, definitely. That'd be sick. Because then I can just do it on the plane or something, you know, if I got Wi-Fi on the... Oh, that'd be sick. That's why I loved the Shield controller from NVIDIA, man. Because you got like a full controller with a display, little clamshell. Oh, that thing was sick.
That thing was
I would
great.
do anything for a new...
What a random-ass thing that was.
Yeah, Throwback Tuesday next week.
So Fortnite on Android now, sort of, if you have Samsung phones. Also at the Samsung event, 2 other products, the Galaxy Watch, which we knew was coming, and the first Bixby speaker, which is called Galaxy Home. I kept wanting to call it Bixby Home, but it's Galaxy Home. So the Galaxy Watch, again, it does not run Android Wear OS. It runs Tizen 4.0. It does come in 2 sizes, 46 millimeter, 42 millimeter. 46 millimeter comes with a silver case. The 42 millimeter comes in either black or rose gold. It starts at $330, I believe. Got pricing somewhere in here. Yeah, so the 42 millimeters $330 and the 46 millimeters $350. They have 1.3 and 1.2 inch displays, dual core processor, heart rate monitor, GPS, NFC, no MST, which some people are kind of sad about. 5 ATM and IP68 water and dust resistance. They look okay. They're Tizen watches. Oh, they wirelessly charge now, and they have a little special dock and stuff like that. Did you play with these at all? I know they were at the event. What did you think?
I did, yeah. I put one on my wrist. The 42 millimeter felt fantastic.
That's a nice
46,
size,
yeah. The 46 was a little large. The smaller one, I had a rep tell me that, like, you know, the rose gold was made specifically for people with smaller wrists, you know, just because they got to be PC and can't just say it's made for chicks. But
which is just so silly. Like 42 millimeter, if you buy a normal watch, 42 millimeter is on the larger side.
It still felt pretty large.
Like, small.
Yeah, I was wearing like my Seiko Diver or whatever, and it's about the same size, and it's pretty large. But yeah, the 42 millimeter felt really good. The rubber straps were pretty darn cheap, but they do use like a standard like bar designs where you can just replace the strap. You need 20 mil, I think, for the 42 and 22 for the 46. So
yeah, exactly.
They were cool. Oh man, the rotating bezel felt really good. It was like a very subtle kind of like the click that it does when you're rotating it. It just felt really good. I would probably just play with that all day long if it was sitting on my wrist. So it's great hardware, but I mean, you'd want to have a Samsung phone with it, and so it's just like not in my cards, I guess. So we'll see though. Maybe I'll love the Note 9.
They actually look kind of nice. Price wise, they're up there. I mean, $330 and $350 for smartwatches, not on the low end. I guess they're probably cheaper than an Apple Watch, but when you look at Android Wear OS watches, they're sort of on the upper end. There's going to be LTE models too at some point. They look fine. They're just, I don't know that there's like this massive upgrade over the Gear S3 line. They look slightly different, a little bit nicer, cleaner, but I don't know that they're like this huge upgrade. But watch technology, it's kind of sitting flat. So I'm like you, like they would be great if you had a Samsung phone. Since I don't plan on using one anytime soon, like I don't think I would use one. So they're also up for pre-order though right now. You can buy those today. Speaking of what you can't buy though, the Galaxy Home. So this Bixby speaker, I feel like this has been rumored to be launching for like 2 years now. And Samsung finally unveiled it. It's called Galaxy Home. It's kind of like a big nuggety egg thing with a little 3-pronged tripod-y stand. Definitely looks way bigger than than Google Home. You can't really compare it to Google Home Max because that's just such a different shape, but it's large like that. It's supposed to be big sound, 360 sound, has touch controls up top. So far, we only think it comes in black with silver stands. We have no idea what it's going to cost. We have no idea when it's coming. Samsung just said like there's like you could target audio to go a certain way. It has 8 far-field microphones. Obviously, Bixby's in there. And that's kind of all they really wanted to say. They said in November at the Samsung Developer Conference, they plan to announce more. It's in November. That's like 3 months from now. So They finally well, it's I should also say it's got 6 AKG tuned speakers and a subwoofer. But 3 months from now, for a product that we thought was going to come out a year ago, I think seems like a long ways off. But that's all we really know. It looks kind of big. Did you see one in person, or did they not have any really on display?
Not.
No, they just kind of showed them off on stage is what they did. It's Bixby power. Like, I have Google Homes everywhere in my house. So, like, because they're so late to the party, it's going to be hard, I think, for a lot of people to go, all right, I'll make the switch. Like, unless you just don't have, like Alexas or Google Homes or Siri, whatever, Apple's HomePod, that's what it is, HomePod. If you don't have any of those, like, you were the person that was waiting for Samsung, like, this is probably going to be a decent speaker, I would think. But I think a whole bunch of people already have smart speakers. I don't know that everyone's going to want to flock to a Samsung speaker. And I also don't think this thing's going to be cheap. It's got AKG tuning, but it's huge. I mean, I just imagine this is going to be like $500.
I was thinking more like $350.
Yeah, if it's $350, that's not bad. Because they probably do want it to be competitive with HomePod, I would imagine, and Google Home Max.
You've got to be invested in that Samsung ecosystem, though, to even make it worth it, to even want to deal with Bixby.
Yeah, because it'll never have a Google Assistant or something like that. It's going to be a Bixby speaker. Yeah. So not interesting at all to me, but maybe to somebody, maybe to Richard Yarrell.
To Samsung employees, it's probably pretty dope.
Yeah. So that was the Samsung event. We got Note 9, Galaxy Watch, Bixby speaker. Oh, there was some Spotify stuff too. So Samsung did announce that Spotify is going to power the music on all of their devices going forward, which is a pretty big deal. To have that, they once had that. What was it called? Milk Music. There was Milk Music, Samsung's music service at one point, which was just a goofy product. It wasn't terrible. It was just weird. But they ditched that, and so like Google has Google Play Music. Obviously, Apple has Apple Music. Amazon has their own music service. So Samsung, because they don't, well, now they've just partnered with Spotify. So I'm assuming that just means Spotify is going to come preloaded on all of their phones. And I would hope that would mean discounts or deals or trials on service for Galaxy customers and things like that. They did show off some controls where you can easily control between all your Samsung devices and Spotify. So that's kind of like a Spotify Connect thing, I'm assuming. So I use Spotify. And I have like desktop apps on my phone, things like that. And that the stuff they were showing kind of already works in Spotify. Like Spotify has this little device control button. If you have smart speakers in your house and stuff, you just can kind of tell, like from your phone, you can tell it to play on whatever. So they showed this demo where they played it on a TV and then they moved it and everyone cheered. And I was like, that Spotify's worked like that forever, nerds. All right. I think that's it. Samsung. Lots of stuff. Unfortunately, it's all leaked outside of the speaker. But yeah. So Note 9, we're hoping to have one someday. Hopefully soon. Once we do, we'll start telling you our thoughts on the Note 9. Galaxy Watch, I don't know that we'll actually review those. We haven't reviewed a Galaxy Gear watch in a long, long time. So if you guys want us to look at the Galaxy Watch, we can, but we're going to need like an overwhelming number of people to do that.
Yeah, in the meantime, take to social media. Get out there on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and tell Samsung how much they need to start, loving Droid Life and sending us a freaking unit so we can review it quickly like everyone else. That'd be great.
Yeah, feel free to tell Samsung that we exist.
Yeah, they seem to forget every year.
Yes, they do. God, I have so much to say. I have so much to say on that topic.
I love being an outsider.
Love you, Samsung. Great company. All right, so in other new phone news, which is like a week old at this point, there's this guy. This is look at all his fingerprints. Whew. Oh yeah. Moto Z3. So last week I was in Chicago for Moto Z3 announcement. That would be this phone. So Motorola announced the Moto Z3. It's an exclusive to Verizon. We know that's always a great idea. Exclusive to Verizon. What else is there to say about this phone? Specs wise, it's got last year's specs in this year's phone. So Snapdragon 835, which is kind of weird because everyone else has 845. And it's got a dual camera. It's basically a Moto Z3 Play, except they put in a Snapdragon 835. So like 1080p display. It's got Moto Mod support. It's basically the same exact shell as the Z3 Play. Like I couldn't tell you what the difference is between the looks of them. Just internally, there's a difference. The one thing is because it has last year's processor, it only costs $480. So $480 is a pretty good deal. I mean, if we look at, well, it's kind of tough, right? Like OnePlus always makes this weird because OnePlus 6 has a Snapdragon 845 and more RAM and all that stuff. And you can get one for $530, whereas this thing has last year's processor and less RAM and probably a lesser camera, and it's $480. So the other weird thing is the Moto Z3 Play is more expensive, except it's supposed to be the lesser of the two. It's $500. Unless you buy it at Amazon, then it's $450. I have no idea what Motorola is doing. So this phone, I mean, I'll have a review probably shortly, but it's kind of a weird one. The big piece to this was Verizon was there in Chicago to say, we're going to launch 5G on this phone with Motorola, and they're making a 5G Moto Mod. The whole idea of this phone and that Moto Mod, basically the reason this phone exists is so that Motorola and Verizon can say we're first to 5G. That's all they're shooting for. And so this Moto Mod is like this thick and it'll slap on the back, and it has its own battery, and it'll potentially give this phone 5G depending on the market. It's going to use Verizon's millimeter wave 5G. So I would imagine if you're sitting at your house that's not in a downtown centralized city location, you won't be able to connect to it because that's going to only really be used in cities, in densely populated areas. So that's the thing that Motorola announced this, and it was really just Verizon saying, well, we're going to do 5G first with a Moto Mod. I don't really know what else to say. Like I said, I'll have a review hopefully soon, but this is one of the weirdest, and it was one of the weirdest product unveilings I've ever been to. Like the media was sitting there ready for it because nothing had really leaked about the phone, which was surprising. And then they announced it. And I remember I was talking to Tim, I was at the event and they announced it. And I was like, where's the spec list? Where's the spec list? And I look and I go, does that say 835? And at first I thought it was maybe a typo. And then like everyone around me in this room was kind of grumbling the same thing. Like, does that say 835? And then we went to these breakout sessions to like ask and have them show off some demos and stuff. And the media was just standing around like with this like, huh? You know, like the Nick Young face, like the, huh? And like everyone was like, what is this? And why did you go with these? And they're like, we're trying to hit a price point. And I get all that. But again, the reason this phone exists is because they want to be the first to say we had 5G on a phone. And that's going to come via Moto Mod, which is apparently coming in
6 months down the road.
Yeah, the only thing they'll say is early 2019 is when that mod comes, and they have no idea how much it's going to cost. So you would buy this phone going, well, I'm going to have one of the first 5G phones. Well, first of all, that's a lie because this phone doesn't actually do 5G. You have to buy a mod, which I don't know how, I'm guessing $300 for the mod. I'm not really sure. And that'll slap on and you'll get 5G depending on where you are, probably only in the middle of a city that happens to be outfitted with Verizon's 5G. There was no other plans around that was revealed other than early 2019. So it's a weird one. It was an odd event, that's for sure. But it's coming, I think, August 16th. So next Thursday or Friday, something like that. So August 16th, think about it. At $480, like, look, if you're on Verizon and your budget's like $500, this phone's totally fine, right? Like, I think it'll be fine for most people. But the whole idea of the old spec, I don't know. More to say about that next week.
Boo.
So that happened. They didn't announce anything else at their event. The biggest news, I think, was more like Verizon finally said when their mobile 5G is coming. So Verizon has for the whole last year and a half talked about 5G residential broadband, right? Houston, LA, and Sacramento are all going to have 5G home residential broadband. They've never said when they're launching mobile 5G. Well, they announced that it's coming at the beginning of 2019. And it sounds like it's only going to be millimeter wave, which again is basically just for cities. So if you don't live in a city, I don't think you're going to have Verizon 5G anytime soon.
Freaking ripoff.
Yeah, the only surprise there could be that sometimes Verizon does these things where they build out a whole bunch of their network and they just don't really talk about it. You know, like T-Mobile like brags every week, like we just added like 500 new cities to this and this and this and this, and they never shut up about it, which I do appreciate. But Verizon often does it differently, where like they build it all out and then they announce it when it's ready. So there's a chance that like they could be building millimeter wave across the street from my house right now, like in a tower, and putting up some sort of whatever, and I may have it, but my gut tells me no, especially if they want to be first to 5G and the only way they're going to do that is with a Moto mod. That sort of tells me that their 5G network's barely going to be ready early next year when it launches. Damn. So just odd stuff. Very, very odd stuff. All right, so Qualcomm finally announced when they're going to talk about their new wearable processor. So Qualcomm, back at Google I/O, said that we have a new chipset coming for wearables. It's going to be for Wear OS probably. It's going to change everything, like form factors. You're going to have watches that look nice when you're not using them, and then when you can interact with them with a touchscreen and all this stuff. And it should be slimmer watches and all this stuff, right? And we've been waiting for them to actually acknowledge anything else on that. And so they are hosting an event on September 10th in San Francisco. And the teaser is a watch. So, yeah, we'll finally get that. And that'll mean new Wear OS watches. So, pro tip here, do not buy a Wear OS watch right now. Even if Fossil is giving you like an 80% off deal, just skip it. Just skip it. Like Fossil this week just announced like 2 or 3 new watches, I think. And watches, yeah, and like I don't know why you would buy those. Like the new processor's coming, Fossil. Like why would you do this?
Yeah, I don't know why they did it exactly. They should have just waited. Of course, you know these do have standalone GPS and NFC and all that good stuff. However, they are running the Snapdragon 2100 platform, and that is not something you want to be doing right now.
It's like 2 years old, right? 3 years old?
It's more than 2 years old. It was like February of 16.
So yeah, we're gonna get the revival of Wear OS. Hopefully, maybe. I hope that means a new operating system. But September 10th. So yeah, I think LG is probably going to show off the first one because there's this rumor of an LG watch that's been out there for a while. Do not buy a Wear OS watch until then. Just wait, because I think this is actually going to change a lot of how this works. And then make your decision if you really want a smartwatch. I mean, you could buy a Galaxy Watch too. That runs an Exynos processor that doesn't run a Qualcomm processor. So
yeah, I agree with that assumption or everything you're saying. Just stick clear.
So in other random news, that red Hydrogen 1 phone.
Oh yeah.
We now have we now have pretty solid launch dates, right? So October 9th. So if you're one of those weirdos that pre-ordered this thing for thousands of dollars, October 9th is apparently the day you should get one. And then if you're waiting to buy one from AT&T or Verizon, November 2nd is the day. For now. There's been a couple of setbacks. This was supposed to be like middle or early this year, and then it was summer. Now we're like in November. We're starting to push it out a little bit here.
Well, what do you expect? I mean, you know, there's a fledgling phone endeavor from a boutique camera maker known as Red, big in Hollywood, of course. But I expected this. I mean, they're trying to get certification from all the big players, and they're selling it through carriers. This is an interesting play. I mean, we saw Essential try and do this, and they landed on their face. Red is probably expecting something a bit different, whereas you know, Essential thought maybe they had like a phone that thousands and thousands would buy. Red maybe only feels like they need to sell like a couple thousand to like really
Which is just so weird because the costs associated with developing this, there's no way they're going to recoup those costs by selling like 1,000 of these things.
We don't know. Our thumbs may not be on the pulse of Hollywood. I mean, we're not Hollywood liberals, you know, living in the hills, so we don't know how they feel about Red and all that. Michael Bay is certainly going to have one. Who's the guy? Star Wars director. Come on, why can't I think of his name?
Which one?
Everyone, come on, glasses,
the original
hair.
George Lucas?
No, God, no, not the latest episode, The Force Awakens.
J.J. Abrams.
Thank you, JJ. JJ will have.
Well, it's like George Lucas has fluffy hair and like glasses
I know,
too.
and glasses. Yeah, no, that was stupid. Yes, JJ Abrams, he'll definitely have one. So,
All those
MKBHD is gonna have one. So, everyone's gonna JJ and MKBHD. That'll be the two of them.
That'll be the two. What a weird phone. So a week ago, the founder Jim Gennard announced that, like, in this weird forum, like have you ever been to a Red forum? They look like they're straight out of 1998 GeoCities forum level. Like, they are the most bare bones weird. Like, the one that Gennard's been posting in lately, it looks like something like your uncle made for like his like Connecticut hunting buddies to hang out in and like talk trash about local sports in Boston. Like, it looks really weird, and it's apparently an official way for him to communicate with Red fanboys. It's been a different world following the Red beat.
How can you talk about H4 Usernet like that? I mean, come on.
Everything's like a .net. All the Red sites are like .nets, and I mean it is. Anyways, though, he officially communicates directly to the people. What's really funny is he went on this spree about how they were delayed and a lot of it was out of control and he was feeling helpless, and it's been really a frustrating experience for Jim. And so we picked that up and reported on that because that's what we do, right? And he almost like. So we said like part of the delay could be the certification issue with like Verizon, AT&T, and how it takes a while. So I think Verizon, AT&T read that and went to Jim and said, Jim, you need to clear this up now. This is not our fault. And so he then went to his what is it called?
H4 Usernet.
H4. Oh God. And he wrote like, it was like, apparently someone wrote up my tongue-in-cheek comment about the delay. And so I just want to make it crystal clear. This has nothing to do with carriers. This is our fault. And I was like, and so then like Verizon sent it to me going, look, he cleared this up. And I was like, oh my God. And I read it and I was like, oh, you guys totally yelled at him. And he vented to his Red fanboys on h4v.net. It was just really funny. And so it's like, Jim, like, ooh, someone wrote it up and took it out of context. No, I didn't. Like, I direct quoted his ass. It was pretty funny, though. I was like, oh, you're one of those guys, huh? Don't talk about me, media people. I'm just releasing this product to all my rich friends. It was pretty funny.
Hey, man, if you're going to put yourself out there publicly on H4 Usernet, then we've got, this is news. This is news. We've got to write up the news. Don't hate us.
H4 Usernet. Oh God! It really
I'll get one.
It's H4V Usernet. I don't even know what that stands for.
It's for their it's for the 4V stuff.
It's H4V user beta, by the way.
Jeez.
This is my favorite thing.
I feel bad because I don't know anything about Red. Like, obviously at Droid Life's YouTube channel,
we do carbon fiber wallpaper.
We don't.
This
use
website is the best. This is the best website ever. Oh God, I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah, we don't.
Oh man,
we don't use Red products. Would if we could, but
I don't want to use this product. I don't need a holographic screen.
I might.
I thought that ship had sailed a while. Anyways,
I'm sure Marquez will be giving like one away, so I'm just gonna try and win it.
You're gonna try to win MKBHD's contest. That's how you do it right there. Yeah, I don't think Red's gonna reach out to us after I got caught snooping around h4vuserbeta.net. Oh man,
classic.
Well, I think that's all I got for topics. We totally could have slipped in some trivia.
Yeah. Ben Jacobs asking if we've ever met Marquez MKB. Yeah.
A handful of times.
We go
Nice
way
dude.
back, man. Yeah,
Offered him
great
a
guy.
beer, and he was like, I don't drink beer.
I don't drink. He was too young to drink back then.
I think he
That's why.
was too. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
one of the early Google I/Os where we got like one of the like an early release of one of the builds, might have been like ice cream sandwich or something. He actually reached out to us and was like, I don't know how to root this shit and flash this. Will you get this on my phone? So yeah, he came to our hotel room and we like hacked MKBHD's phone. That was the first time we met him, I think. But yeah, I've seen him a handful of times since. He's a nice dude.
Yeah. We got lunch in New York not too long ago. It was good. I mean, he's a super, super nice guy.
Yeah.
And I think what I appreciate the most is, well, the problem is when you see him at an event now, he just gets swarmed.
He does, yeah.
Which I would hate. So I don't even try and like bug him or anything like that. Maybe I'll wave or like I'll say hi on Twitter. But other than that, he's just a busy guy.
He's a busy dude, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? I mean, I want to like do this, but I just don't have any questions this week.
No questions. We do have. I won't tell you what it is yet, but we do have prizes lined up. We just skipped it this week because it was gonna be long. So we do have. We'll be back next time there's a show. We'll have trivia. We got the sponsor lined up. It's gonna be sweet, and yeah.
All right,
I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Stay cool. If you're in New York, oh man, I am sorry for you. God, it's hot. It's hot here too, but it's a dry heat, which is
it's finally
so
going to cool down tomorrow, like 70s tomorrow, and I don't even know what I'm going to do with myself.
I'm running around naked. That's what I'm doing.
Nah, it'd be cold.
No way. Perfect. Go out to the beach.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us. Lots of stuff going on over the next few weeks. Again, there's Pi. We'll have some more stuff on that. Note 9 soon. Z3 review soon. Other stuff. There's lots going on. So thanks for joining us. Droid Life Show 180. Peace.
Peace. Much love.